What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well, having a good Friday. It's the end of the week, just 48 hours before the Manchester derby at Old Trafford, Manchester United versus Manchester City. And oh my, we've got plenty to get into this morning on the Morning View. Shout out to everyone already in the chat, already clicking the like button. Rich Man says it right there. I've already liked. Straight in. Just, when you go into a house now, I mean, depends what your kind of rule is. Some people are shoes off kind of households. Some people are, does it really matter? Some people are, put your slippers on. I always put my slippers on, like walking around the house in a pair of slippers. Even in the summer, maybe switch that to, some Crocs or something like that, some sort of lighter house shoes. But you know what to do already. Click the like button and be sure to subscribe. You can see everyone in the chat. I can see Joe Blackman in there as always. Triple N's in there says, good morning, guys. Who else is in there as well? Relentless Red says, people waiting, already haven't, only 16 likes. We're already up to 50. We can get to 100 real quick. Stephanie Griffiths in there saying morning all. Real Recognize Reels in there saying morning all. As always, especially on a Friday, particularly out before a big game at the weekend, especially on a Friday, though, let me know where you're watching from and let me know what the weather is like where you are, because where I am, it's been lovely. It's been lovely the last few days, hasn't it? Been nice and sunny, nice and warm, not too hot, which is because, I get sunburnt on an overcast day. So we don't have the heat too high, but nice and sunny. Nice and, go out for a nice walk. Maybe a little bit of breeze, but nothing too sweltering or anything like that. It's been nice. Makish says London, mate, sunny. That's what we like to. That's what we see. Terrence says sunny and warm here in Malta. What else are we saying here? We're going to talk about. I'm trying to sort of delay the inevitable. We'll talk about Mason Mount. S. Matthew says it's lovely over here. Cold in Johannesburg, in South Africa. Bit cold over there. It's been lovely over here. You can tell because I'm very tanned now, very, very tanned. Real Recognize Real says it's going to be a balmy 19 degrees here in the Midlands, apparently. Yeah. And Triple M says, how are you, Owen? I'm feeling good. It's the end of the week. It's Friday. I'm in a weird space with Manchester United at the moment, with that going into these games. I am feeling quite excited, I suppose, about the weekend and the Manchester derby, because I do actually think we'll win. I didn't think we were going to win going into the Forest game. I know Flex was being quite positive. He said we're not gonna lose. We're gonna get a result. Didn't really feel that, but I do feel like we might get a result on Sunday, so I'm looking forward to that. And then next week, hey, it's a big week when it comes to Europa League, isn't it? I mean, it's our Europa League is our season, so next week that's a big one. But we'll leave that for next week. Can't look ahead of the Manchester derby. Joe H says hot AF in Cyprus. Daniel Luciano, he's right, says, let's get to a quick 100 likes. We're only 7 away from a quick 100 likes. So if we haven't already, click the like button. I tell you what, let's prove Flex wrong. Let's say that Flex is the weak link. Okay, I think yesterday we got like 300 likes. See if we get 400 today. So low in stream settings. That's what we do. And the Reckless Delegate says 33 degrees in Nigeria by 9 a.m. Bloody hell. Bloody hell. I wouldn't be able to. I just wouldn't be able to handle it. I'd just be literally by a fan all day. 33 by 9 a.m. Jeez Louise. That is warm. I mean, I wouldn't be able to wear my United View hoodie. If I was in that kind of heat, I wouldn't be able to wear the United View hoodie, which is available at the United View merch shop. All you have to do, really, if you want to get United View, is sort of scan the QR code or click the link in the video description, where you can get, hoodies that you wouldn't be able to wear in sort of 33 degrees, but, you could wear in sort of maybe a bit of a colder climate. Or you can know if you could get your T-shirts, such as, your UV T-shirt or, Forever Red T-shirt, which is kind of custom artwork that's designed by Just Josh, a media graphics guru, Visual Ninja. You could wear a United View hat maybe in that kind of weather. All you got to do is just sort of scan the QR code, links in the video description. You can see sort of a selection of what you can get there, but it depends, there's other products that are available too. So just check out the website, and it's more than just a merch site. You can see the latest videos that we've got there and see what was being posted on all of our socials. I think you can even sign up to like a mailing list. So when new products get released, or I believe, if I'm correct, beneath you now on YouTube, there are like product pages that you can just click straight from there. So you don't even have to scan the QR code. You just go straight to the product page. It's easy. It's easy. It's never been easier. It's never been easier to get yourself a bit of UV merch. Right. Let's talk. I'll tell you what, MWK 360. If we got United View Crocs, yeah, that would be special. That would be special. I don't know. I don't know if feasibly we can do it, but that would be special. And MA, there is not any Casimir Porp in the pipelines. Maybe soon we'll get a t-shirt. We'll see what happens. Let's talk about Mason Mount, because this is a strange story. Now, I must be stressed. This isn't like coming from big outlets or anything like that. This is sort of social media chatter and one of these sort of ITK social media accounts, which have been at points accurate with some of their reporting, but as is always the case when it comes to this kind of story, take it with a pinch of salt because it is social media accounts. But sometimes with these stories, they get first reported on a social media account, and then a few days later, you see, The Athletic or the Telegraph or wherever are reporting this to be the case. So let's talk about Mason Mount and talk about genuinely. I mean, I'll read the report first, and then I'll get into my reaction to it. Actually, so. It's coming from a Twitter account called, X account from United Scout, who again has been accurate with some reporting, some not, but some definitely has been accurate with some, as is always kind of the hit rate, I suppose, with these social media accounts, isn't there? But this report came out last night saying there have been discussions on potentially sending Mason Mount to a private clinic in Switzerland regarding his reoccurrence of injuries and to help limit them. If Manchester United choose this option, he would be out for around 6 months. Now, I mean, there is so much to break down there. And I don't mean break down as like a pun on Mason Mount's body or anything like that. First of all, I will tell you a true story. When I went to bed last night, and I was messaging Flex about this show in the morning. He'll be back for the Trinity later on. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, we'll be able to make the morning. Can you do it?" No problem. I then went to bed, and I woke up, as I do in the night several times. It's a bit of a problem. I wake up like many a time at night. And I checked my phone to check what time it is. And I saw there was a message from Flex a few hours before. And I saw it was this story. It was this story. And I thought, Flex. I mean, I think you've been done there, mate. You've been done there. I was like,
no, wait a minute. Wait.
I was going, what's the date today? I mean, it's the 4th of April. I was thinking, I'm going to click on this, guys. I'm going to click on this, and it's going to say that this was from April 1st. And this is going to be one of those April Fool's jokes from a few days ago that still pops up on your timeline. Because have we seen that in the last few days? When you see something, you go, "Oh, that's unbelievable." Check the date, says 1st of April, 2025. And you go, "Bloody hell, I did get caught. I got caught with these April Fool's shit." I looked at it. I mean, that's from today. That's from today. That's from today. It's not an April Fool's joke. So I read it again. I was reading it again, and I was like, this is mental. If that is legitimate, this is crazy. Of sending him to Switzerland. Even then, I was like, pause. It's like a private clinic in Switzerland. I was thinking, where is this going? And about these reoccurrence of injuries. And I thought, okay, that might be something that happens over the summer. Just kind of goes to Switzerland and has a look at the injuries, what's causing them, and what have you. And then if United chose this option to send a, I suppose, currently non-injured player to a place in Switzerland to make sure he doesn't get injured again, it would take 6 months. 6 months. Half a year in Switzerland, basically learning how not to get hurt or finding out why he keeps continuously getting hurt. I was just like, what? What? So there's a couple of different schools of thought here, guys, isn't there? There's one which is it's bullshit, right? It's bullshit. It's just an easy story to do. It seems so fantastical and over the top. Like there's no way, right? Surely there's no way that can be real. Surely. Well, we don't want you to get injured again, so we're going to send you away for 6 months. 6 months. You're one of the highest paid players at the club, £250,000 a week. He's barely played any games for Manchester United over the course of 2 years. And we're so concerned about you getting injured, we're going to send you away to for 6 months. That. And then the other part of it is, then my sort of brain tries to kick in, sort of the rational part of my brain going, surely they wouldn't do that. Like, that seems very, very far-fetched. Like, surely not. Surely then you would just go down the thing of, well, we'll just sell him. If we can't keep him fit, if it's going to take 6 months just to sort of figure out what's wrong, why do you keep getting injured, then you would just go, well, cut bait. Why are we investing this much into it? What? Imagine, in next, 6 months. I don't know from when it would be, if it was over the summer. Imagine we're into next season. Well into next season, it's like November. I'm like, I could do with Mason Mount, but we don't have him at the moment. Is he injured? No, he's in Switzerland. Why? Finding out why he keeps getting injured. Is he currently injured right now? We don't know. But hopefully he won't get injured again. And then what happens after all that? And then he does come back and he gets injured, because that can happen in football. It's just, this is how mad it is with Manchester United now, isn't it? This is how mad it is with Man United. I don't know what to believe. I don't know, because the part of me just goes, surely bullshit. 6 months. That's a real long amount of time. So if a player got injured for 6 months, we'd be going, I would say, what, nearly out for the season, mate. With the recovery time that comes on for that, that's a long time. Oh, I don't know about that. 6 months in Switzerland. Was he going to live there? Like, what is going on? And I go back to Tuesday. I've mentioned this a few times on these morning shows the last few days. I go back to Tuesday when he was. We were talking about substitutions during the game, and I think it was KG was like, "Who can we bring on? Who can we bring on?" And Mount was on the bench. He said, "We can't bring on Mason Mount. He's going to get injured." And then my reaction to that is, if the sort of reason for not bringing a player onto a football pitch is when he plays football, he will get hurt, then why the F do we have him? Because Roy Keane's settings, that is his job. His job is to play football. And if you can't play football because basically if you have any physical contact or if you do any kind of strenuous exercise, you're going to get hurt, then that's time to call it a day, isn't it? Because you can't do it anymore. So I don't know. So I will say, like, once again, take it with a pinch of salt, because it's not like it's coming from The Athletic. It's not like it's coming from big reputable outlets or big reputable journalists. It's not like it's, Ornstein or Romano or etc. who are saying it. But it's sometimes with these, as I said, with these social media accounts, sometimes the story comes out and then a week or so later, or come the end of the season, we find out that he's in Switzerland. So I don't know. I mean, let me know what you guys think about it in the chat. First of all, I guess, do you believe it? What do you think about Mason Mount? I mean, we did the video yesterday, Flex and myself, about the 5 players that must leave, and the list was limited to 5. There could and should be plenty more than 5, but Mason Mount was on that list for me because it's not worked out. He's a flop. And there's nothing against him personally. I don't know him personally. I don't know him, and it's not an insult to him on a personal level. It's not worked out. It was a signing that struggled to make a lot of sense in the first place. Credit to people at the time that were saying that it just didn't really. Mason Mount, where does he fit? I mean, there were so many different stages of it. There was one under Erik ten Hag, where's he going to fit? And there was lots of stuff about energy in the middle of the pitch, and then we were like, but as the 8, I don't really get that. That's really kind of strange. And then obviously, the price point. He had a year left in his contract, £55 million plus 5, £60 million for a year for a guy with a year left in his contract. That's pure profit to Chelsea too. He'd had an injury towards the end of his time at Chelsea. He'd been consistent for a long time, but towards the end of his time, he'd had an injury. And then, so that was a bit of a concern. Then he gave him the number 7 shirt, and it was just, that's a big shirt for Mason Mount. It's a big shirt number. And we had the debate at the time, it's only a number and this, that, and the other, but it means something at Manchester United. It's always meant something at Manchester United. I'd never got the argument of trying to play down the number 7 shirt because, of course, it's steeped in history at this club. So the idea of just kind of pushing it to one side, it doesn't really matter. That was a bullshit argument, in my opinion. And then ever since then, he's just been injured constantly been injured. And I had the conversation with Flex at the end of that season. One more injury and he's a flop. Flex agreed to it. Since then, bloody hell, it's been like 4 or 5. And the only reason that we're sort of saying about him not getting sold in the summer is because from a PSR point of view, we would be making a loss on Mason Mount, who would pick up his contract, 250k. You could see a loan happening. We might have to do, as Flex has mentioned before, that kind of initiating the exit phase, which is go out on loan. I could see that if he went out on loan to Italy or Spain or something like that. But it's not worked out. It just hasn't. And I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure he's well liked. I'm sure when he can train, he does train well. And I know for a fact, because of the information that we had, that Ineos are fans of him, or they had certainly conversations with him towards the end of last season. Just get yourself fit, mate, and don't worry about everything else. But that's not what happened. It's not. He didn't get himself fit. And this is when people will be looking towards Ineos once again and going, you want to talk about how ruthless you are. You want to talk about how, best in class and it's about winning this, and this. If you've got someone that you're investing heavily in, which we are, and you're not getting a return on that investment, they're not playing that often, they're consistently getting injured, and they're, just not up to standard physically, then you've got to realize it's always going to be a loss. So are you going to just basically see out the contract? Well, I'll just see out the contract then, because from PSR point of view, that'd be the best thing to do. Or do you be ruthless, do you be relentless, and do you find a way for him to exit the club? And I think that's got to be the best thing to look at. But I would be surprised if he moved in the summer, because I think we'll get at some point again. I think we'll get the spin or even stories similar to this of, well, he's trying, and it's going to come back, and World Cup. World Cups next summer, and can try and get back in. Thomas Tuchel's a big fan of him from his time at Chelsea, so keep working, and and maybe he can make it to the World Cup, or Thomas Tuchel says to him, and maybe this is where Thomas, he's got to do us a favor. He has a conversation with Mason Mount and says, "Look, Mason, I want to play you, and I want you to be involved with the England squad. I want you to be involved at the World Cup, but you've got to play and you've got to stay fit." So maybe that's the only way that Mason Mount does push for a loan. Maybe that's the only way that, he is willing to get a lesser contract or something like that. Maybe. But And again, before I get to the super chats and members chats, and we're halfway to 400 likes, by the way, guys. So if you haven't already, click the like button. We can get to 400 likes for the solo-in stream. It must be stressed that he's, as of right now, this is not what this social media post, report, whatever, is saying. As of right now, he is not injured. So for, you can see in the chat there, KG, not our KG. But others saying, oh, is he injured again? Is he injured again? It would suggest that he is not injured now. But the suggestion is, which is another reason why I kind of give this thing the bit of the side eye and go, what? It feels a bit fake news-ish, is that he did come on Tuesday. As far as we're aware, he's not injured. So why would you send a non-injured player away for 6 months to work on reducing injuries when he's not currently injured? That to me seems an odd choice, a very odd choice. We're going to send him to Switzerland so he doesn't get injured again, or we get an understanding of why he keeps getting injured. Okay, cool. Good idea. Is he injured now? No. Why wouldn't we use him then? Because we need players, don't we? Yeah. And why is that going to take 6 months? Like, I would get it if it was like, oh, it's an international break, or over the summer. Over the summer, he's going to spend like a month in Switzerland working at this clinic. All right. I get that. 6 months. What kind of sort of extensive scans and procedures is he going under? My goodness. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. So take it with a pinch of salt. Hey, we might be back here in like a week's time, being like, yeah, he's in Switzerland right now, maybe. So we'll see. Catch deal with the first super chat of the day. Says this club is not good for anyone's mental health. Owen, we are losing the next 3 games. Amarim tactics are the problem. Just play freestyle and we win. What are the next 3 games specifically? Obviously, we've got the Manchester derby at the weekend. We've got. Are you saying all comps? Is it all comps? You're saying that we're going to lose the next 3 games, or is it in the Prem? I mean, because we've got City, then we've got Lyon, then we've got Newcastle. I mean, Newcastle, I don't think we'll get anything from that. See, like I said, I'm somewhat optimistic about the City game. I mean, look, this is still Manchester United this season. We're 13th in the league. We are dog shit. So you're right in the sense of we could absolutely lose the next 3 games. We've lost plenty of games this season. We've lost more than we've won this season. The City one, like I said, I'm a bit optimistic because City are just not good. The Lyon one, for some reason, we're playing better in the Europa League this season. Lyon aren't great. I could see us drawing in Lyon and then winning the second leg at home, a bit like we did against Real Sociedad. So I don't think we'll lose the next 3. I don't think we'll lose the next 3. I'll go with, but I don't think we're going to get 3 straight wins either, because we haven't done that this season. I mean, that's why you hate to be sort of the negative Nelly when it comes to all of this, don't you? But whenever, how many times this season have we had we could go on a run? We haven't gone on a run. We haven't gone on a run for ages. We're not going on a run. We're doing stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. Poor United Strand. All right. I mean, he's full on. The size of his afro at the moment is ridiculous. I saw him wearing like a full-on headband the other day to try and control that thing. It is mad. So it's going to be a long. I mean, he might as well 6 months go somewhere for 6 months. You won't have to cut your hair, like, for the whole time. It's insane. WJ Barrett has been a member for 33 months. Look at that. 33 months. Appreciate 33 months of support, WJ Barrett. Says, I get what you're saying, Owen, but he's a well-liked guy, and if they fix him, he's an asset. We did it for a toxic Sancho, so I actually believe it. But even with Sancho, I mean, it was, how many months was it? 2 months? 3 months, I think it was. 6 months is a long, long, long time, especially in 6 months in football. I mean, managers don't even last 6 months. So I mean, 6 months. Tottenham, I remember in Ange's first season, they won the league in less than 6 months in November. It was very impressive. Then you look at him last night now. Gosh, I tell you what, that was box office. And it is nice when it's not you. I was watching that. I don't know if you guys saw that last night. Not the game, but all of that and stuff. Bloody hell. I mean, that entertainment. That is pure sporting shithousery entertainment. He makes a substitution. Bergvall for Sarr. Fans start booing. You don't know what you're doing. Boo, boo, boo. Sarr scores the goal. Ange gives it that to the Spurs fans. Starts cupping his ear to the Spurs fans. Ruled out for VAR. So he looks like a right knobhead. He's giving it to the fans. So they're going at each other at this point. The manager of the team and the fans are going at each other, celebrating at each other. It gets ruled out. And then the interview after the game with Sky Sports, SJA for next year. SJA for next year. Because it's already interview of the year. It's already interview for the year. He's talking about clear and obvious error, blah, blah, blah. And then I think, was Patrick Davison, I think his name is, when he was like, yeah, but was the decision right? Did they get to the right decision? Because his thing was like, if it's 6 minutes, it's not clear and obvious. So can't be clear and obvious 6 minutes. And then the interview goes, well, but it was the right decision. Looking down, obviously. I don't know why you're trying to put me into a corner. I don't know why you're trying to. Why are you trying to put me in a corner? I don't know what we're talking about. And then he goes, so you think that was the right decision? Yeah, I do think it was the right decision. Oh, that's all right then. Well, I disagree. Honestly, it was the most uncomfortable interview you have seen. And then they went to the press conference asking him about it again, about cupping his ears to the fans. It's Jesus Christ, mate. Jeez, mate. I just talking about VAR, mate. He's such a dead man walking. He is such a dead man walking. The only reason he has his job at the moment is because they are still in the Europa League, which inevitably they're going to go out of. They are going to go out because the Spurs. They're not going to win shit. Like, he's such a dead man walking. But it was, if you haven't seen the interview, it's box office stuff. Like, I recommend it. And particularly as United fans, we're sick and tired of seeing interviews and what have you. And, it's difficult to connect at the moment with Manchester United, isn't it? With how shit we are and how just depressing things are. So just to revel in the misfortune of another club that is actually beneath us in the league, because there aren't many. There is a very select list of people we can laugh at because we are above them, and Spurs is one of them. With 3 points. I know we've lost to Spurs twice or 3 times, how many times it is this season, right? But still, we can laugh. We've got that. We can still laugh at Spurs. So you still got to enjoy it. So that was box office. And WJ Barrett also says with the super chat, Giggs had an individual plan because of his hammies. Yeah, but he's Ryan Giggs. You know what I mean? And that was Ryan Giggs towards the end of his career. That was like Ryan Giggs. When he was like 30 or late 20s, early 30s. And by that point, he'd won how many Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues? This is Mason Mount in his mid-20s. This is the other part you have to remember with Mount. It's not like he's old. It feels like he's been around for a while because he, broke into football in sort of Derby and Chelsea at a relatively early age. But this is a guy in his mid-20s. And he could be going away for 6 months to find out why he's getting hurt all the time. The other comparison is Ryan Giggs, who's one of our greatest players ever, who had already by that point in his career, again 30, been playing for however many years, won however many titles. It's just for me, it's an apples to oranges comparison. But we'll see what happens with Mason Mount. We'll see what happens with if this story has any legitimacy in it. I think that. If he's not in the squad on Sunday, once again, we'll be going, what happened? Of course, it was against City at the Etihad in December where he started and played, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then he was off. And then we didn't see him again for a long time. So I hope that there's nothing in it and it's just a case of clutching at straws. We'll see. We've got closing in on 800 people watching, which is fantastic. We are at close to 250 likes. If you haven't already, click the like button. As I mentioned, we are aiming for 400 likes this morning. Let's aim for 400 likes. Yesterday we got 300. So let's aim for 400. And then I will say to Flex, okay, look, hey, weak link. Someone's not carrying their weight on the morning shows. You know what I mean? Just kind of, I mean, started earlier today as well. I'll put that out there, before I get any accusations, Flecknology or Fleck timing. So just put that one. Let's remember that one. Reminder, you can see it in the sidebar right there. We'll have another episode of the Trinity podcast today, dropping at 7 p.m. The normal Trinity will return. It'll be Flex, KG, and myself. So that will be coming at 7 p.m. A lot to talk about as we head into the derby at the weekend. I want to ask Flex and KG some questions based off the match view from Tuesday, because yeah, I mean, there was, Flex is still, I want to see where Flex is in terms of positivity. I want to see where Flex is in terms of positivity. I want to see where KG is. He says that he is saving up his, I want to say, maybe it is positive. He's saving up a lot of his energy for those Lyon games. He said on Tuesday that he wasn't going to overdo the belief stuff this time round because he's saving it. So I don't know what kind of performance we're going to see from Kevin the Comic next Thursday and the week after that. Particularly that second leg at Old Trafford. Might be another level. Might be another level. And also be sure to subscribe. Road to 200K. Who knows? We might even get a 200K party. Ray S with the super chat says, experienced goal scorer is a priority for me. I tell you what, Ray, perfect segue. I love it when a super chat leads into a segue of the next story. Let's talk about goal scorers, not necessarily an experienced one, but a striker possibly that we could be looking at in the summer. Once again, we're hearing talks about Manchester United being interested in Liam Delap. Now, this was a story from social media, an account called Sully Talks, who, again, ITK account. It's been accurate on some stuff. But in addition to that, David Ornstein said yesterday in his The Athletic Q&A, he said that, Liam Delap was one of these players that Manchester United certainly were going to be interested in the summer. Fits the price point, fits the age profile. The suggestion from the account Sully Talks yesterday said United have made internal discussions regarding Liam Delap in recent weeks, and looks like there's definitely ground to stories that have been put out there recently, and he's high on the shortlist, being heavily influenced by Jason Wilcox. A possibility that is being heard is even if Ipswich get relegated, United may not pay the 40 million release clause and propose a structural deal in installments. A lot will depend on whether or not we get Champions League. So that's kind of similar, really. And again, this is when I think you do have to be a bit careful when it comes to these kind of accounts and these kind of stories, is that sometimes the stories are based off things that have happened in the past, i.e. Joshua Zirkzee, right? Joshua Zirkzee, in the summer, he had a release clause at Bologna. We didn't pay the release clause. We paid a little bit more than the release clause, but we paid it in installments. So actually, it was a better deal for us. It feels like I think this is what it's going to be when it comes to strikers. I think we need to get out of our minds Gyökeres. I think the only link to Gyökeres is just Amorim, is just that he used to manage him at Sporting. I think that's it. I think we need to get out of our minds really Osimhen. I don't see the Osimhen stuff. I just don't. I saw a lot of reports yesterday, once again, coming from the likes of David Ornstein and others, suggesting that, Osimhen could be going to Saudi. Al Hilal might be the most likely destination. He was close to going to Saudi last summer. It didn't happen. It fell through. And Osimhen was so pissed off, he got rid of his agents. He got new representation. I think that he'll end up going Saudi again. And by all accounts, the links to sort of Manchester United are largely agent-driven and not necessarily Manchester United-driven. So I think the two most likely scenarios would be a Liam Delap, especially if they get relegated, a £40 million release clause. Man United say we'll pay either less than or a little bit more than, and pay it in installments. They'll do that. Or I think that it might be Mateta that they go for. Because again, he's got a year left on his contract. It'll be around £40 million. United don't want to spend big. And then the question is, the question then becomes, is that going to be enough for Manchester United? Are we going to suddenly start massively scoring goals? I think the concern is, after seeing some of the games recently and seeing, for instance, Tuesday, obviously we played quite well. I didn't really create huge amounts of chances, but this has been a case for us multiple times this season in games, isn't it? Where we go, if only we had a bit of end product. If only we had an end product. If only we had, someone that was clinical, put the ball in the back of the net. It'd be different. It'd be different. And my worry is with the young players. And again, I'm not totally against this idea of the solution is buying younger, buying cheaper, developing them into something, and then going from there. Because let's be honest, I get it. Because what have we done for the last decade plus? For the last decade plus, we have bought established, we have bought ready-made, and what it's led to us is that led to this position, hasn't it? It's led to this position of this thing over and over and over again, get into the Champions League by spending a lot of money, fall out of the Champions League, then spend a bit more money, get back in the Champions League, fall out. And all the established players we brought, they didn't work either. So I can understand the idea of trying something different. I can understand that. But the other concern is, like the discussion we've been having this week, is, okay, so if you are going to get young players and you are going to buy young players and bring them in, are they going to be afforded the time to be able to succeed at Manchester United? Because at the same time, as we've seen with young players, Ruben Amorim said it himself, the pressure of the shirt weighs heavy on these experienced players because we want instantaneous results. We want instant return on investment. We're not going to get that with young players. They're going to be inconsistent. They're going to go up and down. They're going to go in and out of form because that's what happens with young players. So is that going to work too? And I think it's a really good debate. But for me anyway, even when you look at this, like, oh, put Gyökeres in this team, that's it, score goals. I don't think it's as simple as that. I just don't, because we've done it. We have done that before. We've bought established. We've still got established in our team right now. We bought Casemiro. We bought Mason Mount. We bought, someone like Anthony, not necessarily super established, but one of the best players I got across. It could be amazing. We're going to bring Joga Benitez coming to Old Trafford. No, it's not. No, it's not. And frankly, we also have to understand where we are at the moment. And the first stage of grieving is acceptance. We have to accept where we are, the reality of where we are. Not accept in terms of, oh, I'm fine with it. But I mean, accept it as we have to understand where we are and what our next season might look like if we don't qualify for the Champions League. If we do qualify for the Champions League, then maybe things will change. Maybe you can then attract a Gyökeres. Maybe you can attract an Osimhen or what have you. We'll have more money to spend then too. Things are a little bit different. But if we're not in the Champions League and we finish 13th in the Prem, we're not in Europe at all, then you're right to just to be like, right, well, then, like Flex says, rip it all up, knock it all down, build up piece by piece, look towards the Premier League, look towards people that maybe we wouldn't have signed over the last decade, but they might be the best solutions. Look to see players, if they can take a step up, if they can improve, and if they can't, you haven't bought them for that much anyway, so you can move them on easier. That's how a lot of these clubs operate. I said this Wednesday on the Full View because I think it gets a bit lost on people that this thing of, oh, they're just buying young and then just trying to sell them, or they're trying to buy youth players in Ineos but they're just buying to sell. That's what Ineos are doing. And the answer is, well, yeah, because that's the way football works now. We say, oh, we've got to be better run. Got to be like City. Look at them. Look at their academy. Look at their academy. Look at all the players they've got coming through their academy. They go around across Europe and across the Premier League and scoop up all of these young players. And then if they're not good enough, they sell them for like 20 million or 40 million. And it's pure profit. And then they can move and get players easily. Well, then that's what Man United have to do, because that's the way football works now. You have to buy these young players. The currency in football right now, how you really raise funds, is selling players, is bringing players in at a low cost into your academy. They become then a homegrown player. If they're good, they play for you and they take you to success, and they're an asset to your squad. If they're not good, then you sell them. You sell them for immense profit, and that's how you generate money. And there's the point now, and it's not a foolproof thing, because there are some players, obviously, that came through at City that maybe they should have kept. But it's that at this point in the Premier League or across Europe, most teams have a player, and you go, "Oh, he's good. Where was he at the academy? Oh, do you know he was at City at one? He was at City for a period of time." There are so many players, so many players like that, and that's how it works. And when it comes to Man United, our biggest problem, our biggest problem with our recruitment has been our inability to sell on players. If we were buying these people like Casemiro or Mason Mount or Anthony, and they didn't work out, and we could then easily move them on, it wouldn't be that much of a discussion point. Then it would be, all right, yeah, bring in these established people. We'll move them on quickly after a year or two. If they haven't worked out, they'll go. But because our recruitment has been so bad, and we go so heavy into the transfer fee and so heavy into the contract, we put ourselves into a corner that we cannot get out of. So it forces us to go for these younger players where we go, look, we're only going to spend 40 million on him instead of 80, and his contract's going to be less than 100K. So if it doesn't work out, we can still sell them, profit on them, and then pivot very quickly. There's a reason why we're talking about Casemiro, Anthony, even Mount here, going, well, it would be good if we could move them on, but we can't. And the reason we can't is, why would they leave? They're not going to get anything better anywhere else. Casemiro, why would he leave? He's the highest paid player at Manchester United. How old is he? 32, 33. We paid £70 million for him. It's one of the highest fees for a player over 30 ever. He's 33 years old on 300 plus K a week. He is not going to get that anywhere else. The only time he will leave is when he has no time left on his contract. It will expire. That is it. Anthony, here's hoping someone will pick that up in the summer. The Real Betis loan, that's done him some good. But we couldn't just sell him in January. We couldn't just raise the funds immediately like that. We had to go, right, go out on loan, Real Betis, cover some of the wages, and hopefully it works out. And then we can go. And it's the same with, even to an extent, Marcus Rashford. In January, there was this feeling, wasn't there, of like, who's going to pick that up in January? Who's going to do that? Now, fortunately, Villa did, and he's doing okay there. Maybe they'll trigger that option to buy. Maybe he'll still turn it down. So I think this strategy is just, again, it's more financially viable. It is more sustainable, not just financially, but I think in terms of long-term, in terms of squad building. Because if you bring in players that you can easily move on, and you're not just completely stuck to for the entirety of their contracts, then you don't have to then do a rebuild every 2-3 years. The reason we're constantly in a rebuild, got to do a rebuild, is because we're waiting for a lot of these players to come to the end of their contracts. So it's always like rebuild, got to do a rebuild, new manager in, rebuild, got to do rebuild. And all of these other clubs are not having to do rebuilds because they can move players on pretty quickly. And they're not stuck with these huge contracts and stupid transfer fees where if they don't hit like 50, 60 million, they're like, well, I'm not going to profit on them, so that's going to be a loss. So we can't do anything with it. So I don't necessarily have a problem with going for these younger players, going for these cheaper players, if, again, it makes us more financially agile, if you will, or it gives us a greater ability to adjust in the future, because we've been so stuck to a lot of these players, and to also as well. This idea. So in the case of Liam Delap, he's 22, and it's like, will he succeed? Won't he succeed? I think again, I think going towards this younger profile is good. Now, it's not to say that necessarily every player should be young. There is a bit of a concern there, isn't there, of having an entire team that's full of like people in their early 20s or late teens. You need experienced players. You need senior pros. And I would hope that United don't actively rule themselves out of getting senior players if a good deal becomes available. So whether it's maybe if it is a free agent or something like that, or if it's a player that's available for 10 million, 15 million, and they're willing to accept a 2-year deal or a 1-year deal, something like that. All right, fair enough. Remember when we signed, was it Cavani? It was a free agent, 2-year contract. Because then you're not wed to it for 5 years. And you're not going, what we're going to do? Oh, I don't know about that. And it's a free agent anyway. Those kinds of deals, which I think we should still look at. But this sort of heavy spending, big transfer fee, big contract, I think that's where we just need to stay away from, because we've tried it. We've done it. We've done it, and it's not worked. And it's left us also financially, in addition to a lot of other things, clearly, this black hole. It was when Kieran Maguire was on the channel, when he was saying that I think City and Chelsea have spent more than us. They've spent more money than us over the course of however many years, but they've also raised a considerably larger amount of money than us because they can sell. They're better at selling than we are. We're shit at it. We're rubbish at selling. Case in point this week when we're talking about Anthony Elanga again, aren't we? We're going, oh man, did we make a mistake? Did we make a mistake? I still say I don't think we made a mistake in selling Anthony Elanga, but I do agree, this is a rarity, but I agree with Samuel Luckhurst with the only mistake Manchester United made with Anthony Elanga is that we sold him for 15 million. 15 million pounds. That's the mistake. That's the mistake. There should be, there should have been either a buyback clause or a significant sell-on clause or something like that. And look, to be fair, Ineos have pivoted to that. You look at the Mason Greenwood one, we've got a 50% sell-on clause. Was it with Cambuala at Villarreal? We have a sell-on clause. For a lot of the players that have gone, I think Hannibal, we got a sell-on clause. A lot of these people we've sold in the last 12 months have sell-on clause. Obviously, with Alvaro Fernandez at Benfica, there is a buyback clause that's available until next January. So, I mean, with the Elanga one, was there a sell-on clause? How big was it? Elanga sell-on clause? Only inserted a sell-on clause into the deal. How much is it? Sell-on, it remains undisclosed. They just said he got one. So it depends. Depends. No, I mean, considering it was John Murto, it would be something ridiculous like 5 million. Like 5% sell-on clause. But the point being is, if you feel like if this was Ineos, then maybe it would be high. We'll wait and see how much it is. But I don't think it was a mistake to let him go. I mean, you look at Ruben Amorim's system. Would he fit? I mean, look, it's sometimes as well, it's about the system. It's about the environment. I mean, he was rapid on the wing. Would he fit in Ruben Amorim? Could he be a 10? No, I mean, I think that the discussion point this week about players doing well outside of Manchester United, I think it's a more complex and nuanced issue than I think people are really willing to talk about. I think that it is a failing. A lot of those players succeeding outside of Manchester United is a failing on Manchester United in the sense of, I don't think Man United over the last decade plus have fostered an environment that is optimal for youngsters to succeed. I know that, obviously, look, biggest club in England, one of the biggest clubs in the world. You don't get time at Manchester United, but clearly I think there is an environmental issue there where youngsters can't succeed, or even see youngsters that get into the first team get given too much too soon, too big contracts. It goes to their head, and there are certain standards that are not met at Manchester United and certain behaviours that are allowed and tolerated when they would be unacceptable elsewhere. And I think that that's a failing on Manchester United's part. Now, I think another reason why these players go to other clubs and succeed there and not at Manchester United is also because the pressure, most players, and who really could, but a lot of people can't handle that level of intense pressure week in, week out. Even, again, big senior players have been at United. They can't handle it. You look at Rashford at Villa. looks like he's got the weight of the world off his shoulders, because he's in a FA Cup semi-final, a Champions League quarter-final, and people are talking about him a fraction of the amount that they would at Manchester United just playing any regular game. Because no disrespect to Villa, of course, big club, big fan base, they're doing well under Unai Emery, but the sort of general media cares less. I mean, the only reason now they're kind of talking about him as much is still because it's the sort of Manchester United link. Even with the Elanga stuff, that you get the feeling that the reason it's getting so much headline with Elanga over the last week is because he used to play for Manchester United. Not necessarily because this is great player from Nottingham Forest. It's because it's this ex-Manchester United player. It's like you see in the summer. You will see it this coming summer too. Most headlines, if they've got something peripherally to do with Manchester United, will have Man United somehow in that headline, to the point that sometimes what the journalist or the media does, they'll link us to a player. Manchester United are interested in this player. We never are. We're interested in this player. And then the next day or the next week, eventually when he does sign for another club, it's ex-United target, blah, 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 signs for this. And you go, well, we were never in that. We've just been used for our name in that regard. So I do the level of scrutiny and pressure at Manchester United is on another level, and some players can't handle it. But clearly, Ineos and the powers that be at United have to figure out how to overcome that. You know, whether it's the profiling of players they go after in the scouting, how good are they at handling pressure, how good are they at handling, you know, that kind of intense scrutiny? Are they able to make the step up? In addition to that, how do we correct that environment when it's not allowing these sort of younger players to break through, to succeed? Do we have to have a look at, again, just the wider environment of, you know, of standards at the club, what's tolerated, what isn't tolerated? And I do think that Ruben Amorim is trying to improve that as well and sort of prevent some of those more off the pitch issues. In addition to that, do we have to have a situation of not giving them too much too soon? A bit like the Cobby situation. I mean, I don't necessarily think he's asking for 200K. I think those things are a bit wide of the mark. But do we want to be careful of, well, they've only been playing for a short amount of time. They're still young. They've still got time left on their current contracts. Why are we going to give them the world immediately? Because where do you go from there? Don't you have to work? Don't you have to work up to something? Don't you have to aspire to something? So it's that kind of part too. It's that kind of part too. And I think all of that needs to be fixed and needs to be rectified at United. So it's, as is always the case with these things, it's a more complex issue, isn't it? Certainly. Where are we at in terms of likes? We're at 320 likes. We've got nearly 800 people watching. If you haven't already, click the like button. Let's see if we can get to 400 before we wrap things up, get to a good 400 likes. And also be sure to subscribe as well. Speaking of subscribing, you can scan the QR code there and you can subscribe to United View Clips. United View Clips has been doing the Lord's work recently when it comes to some of these past comments, some things said in the past and what have you. I did see this in the chat early on. Some were saying, when is the court case? Don't think it's forgotten. It is not forgotten, the court case. I think, in all honesty, Flex is trying to wriggle out. You know, like when there's a thing is, sometimes when there's trials, there's big build-ups. You don't get a trial for like 9 months or a year or 18 months. Sometimes it takes ages to get to a criminal trial or a civil trial. It can take a long time from filing of charges. But we will get there, folks. I will bring it up on the Trinity later. Where's my pen? Now, hopefully I'll have a pen that actually works in front of me, because all these pens are shit. That pen doesn't work. This pen. Why didn't none of these pens work? This one, does that work? Yes. Right. I am making a note right now. Court case. Fucking pen stopped working. I mean, I could just do it on the computer, but I want to have it visually in front of me. I can kind of see it. I've effectively carved it in to post that court case. It's there. So on the Trinity, on the Trinity later. I will bring that up, and we will come out of tonight's episode of the Trinity with a date. We will do it because Flex will go on trial. You guys hit the super chat goal, so we will get it. We will get it. Yeah, and Flex will have to prove his innocence. And I'm still waiting. Actually, I still do need the help of the UV community on this one too, because the general charge, as far as I can recall, the general charge was that he was saying that Ruben Amorim needed to change formation, wasn't it? Is that he needed to change formation, switch to a back four, etc. What I need from you guys, MA, I saw that one too. KG said we were coming second. There'll be other side things happening in the people versus UV. Don't you worry about that. What I need from you guys is if you can find any clips or any specific instances of Flex talking about changing to a back four, Ruben needs to change. He needs to change this. He needs to change that. If you have that video evidence, I need you to send that to me, whether that's in DMs, whether that's, in DMs on Instagram or on X or what have you, then I need the information. I need the information. I need the evidence because I want to have a lot. I want to have a lot of it. I don't just want one clip. I want several bits of clip. Because I want to keep going back. So if you guys have that information, then DM it to me at Owen United View on Instagram, at Owen United View on Twitter, and that will be used in the trial. So exactly as Keith says there in the chat, who's got the receipts? Yeah, that's what we need. So that's my call out to you, the UV community. That is my call out to you. And when we do the court case, it will be live. I've insisted that it will be live. None of this pre-recorded stuff, because we need to have the UV community involved in that. They need to be bringing their opinions. They might even be called as a witness, possibly. So, we need that kind of stuff. So we'll be building up to it. We'll be building up to it. But I'll need assistance from my legion of attorneys. Is what I need. That's when you work in a law firm, you sometimes start off, don't you? Just working, going through bits of information, prepping for trial. That's what we need. Yeah, that's what we need. We're 50 likes away from 400. So if you haven't already, click the like button. Just finally, before we wrap things up, obviously it's the Manchester Derby on Sunday. A reminder, I'll be live as always 2 hours before kickoff, which means I'll be live at, skip over it quickly, at 2:30. It'll be KG and myself. I'll ask Marcel if he wants to join us because we're unbeaten, the three of us. The four of us are beaten, but that's because Flex joined. I tell you what, if we beat City, because KG, Marcel, and myself haven't lost. We haven't lost. We did Arsenal, we drew. We did Sociedad, we won. And then Flex joined us and we lost. So, it's just kind of all on Flex, isn't it? Really, I think we'll get a result. And now, whether that result is we win, I don't know. But I'm gonna go. I think we'll win. How about that? I think we'll win. Now, I'll say my actual prediction for the preview. That'll be coming out tomorrow. But I think we're going to win. Yeah, I think we're going to win. City are rubbish. I know we're rubbish too. It might not even be that good of a game. Most Man United games aren't. But we need something. We need something. So I'm going to say that we win. But I'll save that all for the preview. So there you go, guys. That's the morning view for you. Be sure to smash the like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. Less than 50 likes away from 400. So if you haven't already, click the like button on the way out. Reminder, the Trinity's coming up later at 7 p.m. Be sure to join Flex, KG, and myself. Preview tomorrow. And then, of course, it'll be match day on Sunday too. I'm out of it. Have a good Friday, guys. Peace.